Ladies, I just want to have a little chat with you about the state of things, starting with the big selling books you're reading. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about titles like Santa Claus is Going to Town on Me, centered on the fantasy of having your stocking stuffed by a jolly well hung Saint Nick, or Claimed by the Cthulhu, an erotic novel about submitting to the horny attentions of an ancient monster with a pulpy tentacled head, surmounting a grotesque and scaly body. I mean, it's your journey, I guess, but you could also just go on a date. There's also Get in My Swamp, an erotic tale where the love interest is a brainless brute whose bachelor pad is furnished with rotten logs and slime. But ladies, I'm afraid I'm going to have to draw the line at Come for Bigfoot. Described as just the first of 16 fiction ebooks, author Wade has written about violent sexual encounters between the ape-like creature and his female human lovers. During her best months, she says, she nets $30,000 or more. I'm completely hooked, gushes Katie Kramer, author of Loving the Alien, Sci-Fi Tentacle Sex Erotica. Ladies, what's going on? What are we doing here? I feel like we need to take stock of things, alright? Because you're starting to raise a few eyebrows. Also, the body positivity thing, ladies, enough is enough. A series of Bridgerton revolving around a monstrously porky and squat heroine. I'm afraid we're going to have to draw the line here, alright? No bachelor, least of all one in Georgian England, or whatever perpetually sunny, candy-coloured, racial and gender utopia madcap absurd cabaret vision of England this is supposed to be, would look twice at this roly-poly, pudgy little creature, nor dream for 1 second of scoring her, to suffer the slapping, blubbery, undulating rolls of plump flesh with each laboured stroke. She looks like one Bennett sister ate the other 4. She's Pride and Prejudice and pork rolls. She's Sense and Sensibility and Subway. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a woman in possession of 500 pounds of flab must be in want of a diet. Rather than sailors in the South Pacific throwing harpoons at whales, they could have just stuck a pipe in this heifer and siphoned out enough fat to provide oil lamps, soap and cosmetics for all of England. It is unfair, frankly, on the horses having to haul a carriage with her in it as a passenger, necessitating a whole stable's worth of sturdy Clydesdales to exert themselves to the limit, just to drag the sagging carriage from one country estate to another, leaving deep wheel ruts in the road behind from the grinding weight upon the dirt road. Honestly, things have just got a bit out of hand on the romance fantasy front, so just rein it in a bit, ladies. Thank you. When it comes to the Hawk Tour girl, I mean, bless her. But I certainly don't think there could ever be a male equivalent. A guy in the street blowing up as a short-lived pop culture phenomenon based off his pronouncement about hawking up saliva onto the labia and clitoris of his lover as a surefire way of engendering arousal. I also think it's fairly unlikely that a dude would spend $17,000 having his ribs removed so as to ensure a narrow waist, and then endeavor to use the souvenir ribs in their vacuum-packed medical waste bag as the basis for a crown. Nor do I think a fella is likely to try and get some online mileage out of a communal finish rag.
This is my communal finish rag. Yes, I know that's really disgusting, but any guy that comes into my car and we take part in any extra activities, they use that rag to clean up with after.
Also, chicks have become the biggest hypocrites. For decades, generations really, feminist commentators have bemoaned and criticized age gap relationships on screen and among high-profile figures. How it constrained, patronized, and reduced women to status appendages, and spoke to limiting power dynamics, as well as a flouting of the dubious, horny inclinations of old men for impressionable young women, in a way that was dated, even inappropriate. Well, it's totally cool when the ladies do it, apparently, and they're doing it a lot on screen, in a way that's sex-positive, unashamedly empowering, charming, and sassy. From The Idea of You, where a middle-aged woman provokes a songwriting music star of a young buck to be smitten and breezily cool with his older partner. Good luck to you, Leo Grand, where a silver-haired sexagenarian Emma Thompson embarks on a tentative but sex and life-affirming interaction with a black escort in his 20s. Or Lonely Planet, where Laura Dern's wrinkles are adorable and stirring to a much younger man. Baby Girl, where what remains of Nicole Kidman's nipped, tucked, and beleagueredly stretched face contorts in paroxysms of pleasure in a sex-positive, erotic S&M thriller with a much younger man. And if you simply can't get enough of younger dudes, you can binge whole series worth of MILF Manor, where, on any given episode, there might be such cheeky and saucy shenanigans as mothers being blindfolded and having to guess which is their son by feeling the abs of a parade of young fellows. TikTok and Instagram is awash with thousands of profiles that are essentially the same profile. My life as a tech girl. My life as a product developer at insert tech company. My life as a consultant and social media content creator in New York. The voices of these girls are so close to being the same voice, it is scary. The exact same empty, vapid lack of intonation.
Honestly, don't really balance consulting and content creation very well. Like, so many things fall through the cracks. I ended up having way more meetings than I thought and arrived very late to the event. I was practically running there, like my sweat stash after was crazy. The brand had us pick out a jacket to wear for photos, and then
the same oddly soulless monotone, the apparently fabulous goings-on, the classy in-house meals, the suspiciously skipped-over, barely mentioned work projects, the crew ending the day going to wonderful eateries or catching a sunset, the bullshit amenities the monolithic companies provide in their gated community-style, sterile work environments. All delivered with a dull, spiritless tone that, in being so subdued, is intended to convey a sense of cool restraint that the chick is so used to and at home in such environments and in such a lifestyle that it doesn't provoke excessive excitement or surprise or effervescent bubbly gushing. The idea is to convey a sense that this is simply the medium in which she lives and comports herself with what is supposed to be some form of modest poise. The only issue is they come across as having no personality whatsoever. Now, we've all started to feel lately that the trope of the strong female character on screen is pretty played out. From Damsel, to War of the Rohirrim, to Captain Marvel, to Rey Skywalker, or Palpatine, or whatever she's called.
Rey Skywalker.
The obvious problem is taking or inventing characters from existing franchises and doing indulgent self-inserts, or writing for the fanbase you want rather than the fanbase you have, or simply writing strong female characters instead of complex female characters. There is also the issue of taking adventure and quest intellectual properties with their wider themes, and leaning instead on relationship drama tropes. Oh my god, Sauron is such a thirst trap, and are he and Galadriel going to fuck? Is that femme-coded naked Sith guy who's such an untamed bad boy going to add that chick to his body count? They're so sultry and hot together. But the problem underlying a lot of this stuff with girl bosses is the disconnect between the characters and the writers. The actresses playing the parts are 8 or 9s, but the writers writing them are 4s or 5s. The ones giving these eye-candy ladies characterization, agency, and identity are mousy and plump regulars, and that is the worst combination imaginable for everyone. Already psychologically stunted attractive women given the hang-ups, neuroses, and resentments of drab chicks. But that's not even the worst part, because at a deeper, more latent level, in real life, those drab 4s and 5s severely dislike 8s and 9s. And at the deepest level of all, there is a little bit of sabotage going on. They are layering in some of the snottiness, aloofness, emotional coldness, and stuck-upness of those 8s and 9s as they have socially experienced it on the receiving end. As screenwriters, they have taken control of the wheel of the car that ran them over. The end result is a cringeworthy mess that appeals to and satisfies no one, sucks as entertainment, and has a kind of lousiness to it, often culminating with crap ratings. There is another dimension to on-screen travesties, and this is the chick psychology of needing to provoke a reaction. Guys often go crazy when their lady will prompt or provoke a flustered, aggravated reaction out of them that seems to have no basis in reality, fairness, or logic. The psychological underpinning of this is that women crave attention and reactions from their man as a form of acknowledgement, importance, and security. Ideally, this will take the form of a positive and affirming reaction. However, If the choice is between no reaction or attention from their man or a negative response from their man, often women will opt to stir up a negative reaction because any form of attention is preferable to none, even if it takes a negative form. This is why, in the aftermath, the woman will abruptly and unaccountably seem fine, serene even, because the deeper psychological impulse has been met, leaving the guy incredulous, steaming, and frustratedly wondering why chicks are so insane. The problem is, ladies in Hollywood, is that this dynamic is playing out in a meta way on screen. She-Hulk Attorney at Law and Velma are shit, but by allegedly trolling the trolls, getting a negative rise is a fun, savvy, sly, and even empowering thing to do, because even a negative reaction is a reaction. Don't do this to us on the pop culture front. It isn't fair. It's kind of weird. So, ladies, things have gone a bit awry, basically, and I think a bit of introspection and contemplation wouldn't go amiss. We'll leave it at that, but I'm going to check in on you again in a bit to see if you've made any improvements and cleared things up a bit. I mean, it's for your benefit more than mine. Really, sometimes you just need a man to put his foot down, tell you where you've gone wrong, and place the onus on you to put things to rights. So, hop to it.